Let's do another Drunken Q&A. And tonight, it's Newcastle, as typically. First, I was asked about the Black Sun. Hey, Thug, can you do a video on the Black Sun and Nazism? I've been delving into it and I don't completely understand it. Well, there's numerous sources that state numerous different things that I've run across as far as the Black Sun goes. And most of my information comes from the book entitled The Black Sun, all about occultism and especially in its relation with the SS. And from there, pretty much, there's different beliefs of where this identity of the Black Sun came from. Some of it is a belief that came from an ancient Babylonian religion, and it emits this ray of knowledge. Another belief, and more closer to what Himmler and the SS believed, or what they were at least preaching, was that the Black Sun is, I guess, this invisible leftover, the essence, the rays of a sun that existed hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe even millions of years ago, when the Hyperboreans were on Earth. And they were this superior alien / Aryan race of people. And I'll link a documentary about the Thule Society, and this goes into a lot of that. Anyways, the sun of their time, the Black Sun, is believed to be that, and the creativity in man is believed to have come through what's left over from the Black Sun of that time. So that's a belief that was very close to what Himmler had believed. And then in Temple of Wotan here, which is kind of a white nationalist themed Asatru, Wotanism book. They say the Black Sun is behind the golden sun. Its light is invisible to the physical world. So similar in that aspect. It is the vortex, that the passageway to another dimension, the sun which connects with Wotan. Beyond the Black Sun, one finds the green ray. So it's kind of like Stargate in this, right? It's a bridge to somewhere else, maybe even the rainbow. But yeah, there's been mixed opinions on where the history of the Black Sun came from. Madame Blavatsky, they say it could come from her central sun, which is kind of the same thing. So and then, Guido von List picked up after her, and then that was everything he was speaking about was, big in the German occult scene. So it could have definitely came from Blavatsky. I haven't read enough of her works yet to have an opinion on where it came from, but yeah, it's confusion, and there's different stories of where the idea of the Black Sun came from. But to me, it seems, I guess, one of the best, or I don't know, the story I tend to go with more of the history of it is it's a sun that is long gone, but its rays, its essence is, still around. And this is the invisible light, the invisible ray, which brings creativity to man. I think that's, at least in Himmler's mind, and when we're talking about Nazis in particular, that seems to be what they seem to have believed. All right. What do you think about porn? Will you raise your children to be racially conscious of who they choose as a spouse? And have you ever considered getting a Fosse's tattoo as a tattoo, since I've noticed you have SS bolts for a tattoo? What do I think of porn first? I think porn is cancer. I find no redeeming quality to pornography. I think at least in my own personal experience, and I know many others have shared this exact experience, at least those enough open and honest enough to speak about it and humble enough to speak about it. But porn just degenerates more and more. And you go down the porn rabbit hole, and it starts off with, straight vanilla sex, just normal man on woman, and the next thing you know, you're watching farmer daughters get gang banged in a farm, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? It's like you eventually, porn is like any other addiction. You have to do more and more and more to get the stimulation. You just can't get, or the things that got you high or got you off when you first started the drug or pornography. It's synonymous. Won't be enough when you're deep into it, and porn does that, and then it causes you to hate yourself for the rabbit hole you go down to. I think that's all too common of a theme with people that go down that porn rabbit hole. So it's no good. It's no good, and unfortunately, I don't think it can be banned outright. I think that kind of toothpaste is going to let out the tube on that. But I do hope we can regulate it and squash it down a lot and make it seldomly available and shame people that watch porn like it used to be. I remember growing up as a kid, it was, you would want no one to know, or they would hide pornography. Now it just seems to be like everyone's fucking open about it. So, and it's normal. It's like you're weird if you don't watch porn. So yeah, it's cancer. It's the devil. It's no good. And I think it just leads to degenerate. It goes down that path. And it devalues sex with your partner. It objectifies women to an extent to where it's degrading. It's not even sexual. It's more degrading. Or it's not even romantic. It's more degrading. So yeah, I don't find anything redeeming about it. And it is like a drug. Porn was harder to kick for me than cigarettes. I mean, truth be told, fucking full disclosure. So yeah, man, it's a bad mental addiction. And I remember, you got to think, I was in prison at the age of 15, in an adult prison, and for years. So yeah, at that age with your hormones, and you're supposed to be trying to hit on girls at your high school at that age. So I went down, looking at porn fucking from a young age as my only fucking outlet. And so I've gone through periods of, porn addiction, to being disgusted with myself, to complete abstinence, to porn addiction again, to being disgusted with myself, and then complete abstinence again. So that was a dragon. That was one of the more fiercer ones to slay, for sure. And maybe that was just with me, or maybe with certain people it's more of an issue than with others. But I know with me, like I said, cigarettes were easier to quit, as far as making a decision and being done with it. So yeah, I find no redeeming qualities about it. But at the same time, I don't think it's something that can be outlawed. I think it's something that needs to definitely be regulated, and people that are in that industry should be shamed and looked down upon, in my opinion. Will you raise your children to be racially conscious of who they choose as a spouse? Well, I am a race realist, so yes. But what this is like a very personal question for everyone, because what I choose as acceptable to breed with, a different person may not. Say, like, if you're completely Nordic, you would probably want your children to only breed with other Nordic children if you're into race realism. And like, so if they bred with a Mediterranean or Slavic person, it'd be a little, I don't want to say disappointment, but a slight, or definitely an effect on the genetics. With me, it's not like that, and I think with most American whites, it's probably not like that. There's a genetic ballpark quota, I guess, or standard. And yeah, that's definitely, it's not something I preach though. This is, I've seen people that take that angle. They tell their kids, who they should breed with and not breed with. And I've seen people, I've known people that whose kids have bred against their wishes, and it's nothing you can force or indoctrinate into your children. I've had one conversation with my daughter about that, and essentially I just said, here's how I put it was, if so and so or this and this had ever happened, or if this situation had ever took place, you would be making a purely personal and selfish decision, and you'd be going against the family, and you'd have to understand that, and you'd have to understand I would perceive it as that, and you'd have to understand that how you would look at someone that goes against your family. So I've had one conversation like that, and everything else is building an understanding of pride, a knowing of self and heritage and past and family. I think this does more than anything any, parent, don't you dare ever sleep with this, or don't you ever do this, or blah, 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 or any kind of rhetoric or any of this shit could ever do. Just giving pride in who you are and teaching, the ancient people, they used to know who their great-great-grandfathers were, what they did, their names. Like, they would know their whole lineage and the history. And this builds a certain pride in your genealogy and in your family name and who you are. And, that's just dead in modern Americans. So I rebirthed that with my family. Oops. We, they know, I've tell them great stories about their grandfather, their great grandfathers, and their grandfather, and everyone, and everyone that I know about in our family line, and teach them that, and to be proud of that, and to know that blood runs through your veins, and that's special. So it's it is something I find wholly natural with most people, but at the same time, I don't care if someone doesn't do that. I give two shits. I'm not one of these people that, you see a white girl with a black guy in public and you're like, oh, fucking mud shark and blah, blah, blah. It's, to me, there's a certain level of weakness, of cuckishness in that. Cause it's like, if you're so worried about whose dick that girl's sucking, then maybe you should have spoke to her and had her sucking your dick. Maybe, if that's how worried you are about all that shit. So to me, it's a personal thing. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what any person views on the subject personally. I don't chastise anyone if they have no problems with their kids breeding outside of the race. It doesn't matter. See, I'm not used to sitting down, so this fucking thing keeps getting in my way. Because, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is my family and the ethics. And then, sure, there are going to be a lot of people that agree with that too and do that within their own family. But once again, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't build pride in your kids when they see nothing to be prideful about yourself. So it can't be empty rhetoric. And I think a lot of the people that I've seen that try to preach to their kids to only breed within the race and their kids didn't, I definitely saw red flags in these people where you can see huge hypocrisies in character and things like that. So I think that goes a long way. So yeah, the long story short, yeah, I do hope and raise my kids to have race realism and a desire to carry on or have their kids look similar to them. But at the same time, I don't care what any individual does or how they breed. It matters not to me. It makes them not less in my eyes at all in any way. So, yeah, but as for me personally, as for my family personally, yeah, of course. Let's see. Have you ever considered getting? Yeah, yes, I am getting a fasces tattooed on me sooner or later. So I have the sword here. It's going right here because we got the Grim Reaper there. Boom. Yes, it's going right here when I do get it. I am getting it. And it's just a matter of when. Because goddamn, real tattoos cost so much. Everything on me is soot. It's fucking prison ink. And so that'd be my first one. Although I know a person or two I have not been in touch with for a while that, could do home tattoos, that maybe I should dig them up and have them do it. It'll be cheaper. But yeah, eventually, soon enough, I will. I've been dying to get one just right across here, like the sword is here. Boom. So yes, I am going to. I should have when I was inside. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Okay, in your AMA. Oh, hold on. Did I get everything? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay. In the AMA on Discord, you said you consider Julius Caesar to be the greatest man that has ever lived. This came as a surprise to me. Then you don't know Julius Caesar, if that came as a surprise to you. Could you explain why you consider him to be the greatest? In my mind, people like Augustus outshine Caesar. Oh, no. No, not even. Although I understand why you'd say that, because of his results. Augustus's results were magnificent, but he only got those results because of Julius. As far as the greatest man ever lived, I would pick Frederick the Great without a doubt. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. You must be a germophile. You must be a germophile because he's not even close. I love your videos, even though I disagree with you on a lot of things. How dare you? Keep up the great work. Thank you. So, Caesar, why Caesar? Well, first Augustus. Augustus got all of Caesar's money, Julius's money. No, Caesar. Caesar is Caesar. Fucking, okay, so we know who I'm talking about when we're talking about Caesar, so I don't need to call him Julius. But so Augustus wouldn't even have gotten power if it wasn't for what Caesar had accomplished in his life and given to him. And simply having his name and now his birthright, because he made him his son, in paper, Augustus wouldn't have accomplished nothing. Why Caesar out of everyone? Caesar is the perfect story of everything that is great and noble that men should dream about, should strive to live like. His story has to be false because it is so goddamn good. It has to be made up because it is like a mythology. It's as beautiful as a mythology, because he comes from a middle-class family. Now, he had a royal name. Imagine, like, in American context, like the Kennedys are like I guess if we had American nobility, they would be a name like that were in politics for a while. And imagine that family had fallen out for 300-400 years, just kind of lived underneath the radar. They weren't aristocratic anymore, but they weren't poor. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, this young Julius comes around from this Caesar name that once had prominence, but kind of went under the radar for quite a while until Julius comes around. So he comes from that background, which is important. I think most great leaders come from that kind of background. Not too rich, essentially, not bourgeoisie. So now, despite that, he, at a young age, shows intelligence, cunning, bravado, desire for honor. So much so that Sulla. Okay, God, I'm not gonna go into a whole history here because we'd have to go. I think eventually I'm gonna have to make a video on Caesar, even though there's a lot of other videos on Caesar out there. I've been asked a couple times to do it, so I'll end up doing it. But anyways, at a young age, we can go through his relationship with Sulla and how he could have lied and cowered and to save himself, or just did Sulla's bidding to save his neck, and he didn't. And that almost cost him his life. And then when he was caught by the pirates and how, they asked for certain ransom. And this is when he was young too. 20s, I believe, early 20s, maybe late teens. I forget. It's been a while since I've read on him. But they ask for a ransom and he laughs at the they talk about the ransom they're going to ask from his friend, this king of this area. And he laughs. He's like, "Do you know who I am? You better ask for a lot more." And so they do. And he says, "Look, once I'm gone, I'm going to come back. I'm going to hunt you all down and I'm going to crucify every single one of you." And they're all laughing about it. And it's all funny thing. And sure enough, they ask for the more ransom. They get it. Caesar chases them down, crucifies every single one of them. And then his conquests in Gaul, his military genius, his bravery. He would put on a flowing red cape and go and to the front of the line and fight with his soldiers. And he'd put on the cape so the people on the opposing side would know it was him. So this was psychologically smart as well, because it was it was more to get his troops to fight harder, because they see him right there with him. They're going to fight extra hard to protect him because they see their leader right there with them. This, gives them, it makes them like the power of 20 men running through you. You see something like that. And sure enough, he got the result he was looking for from his soldiers when he did that. So he is both brave and cunning, and knew how, to use human psychology to work to his advantage. These are all things you have to appreciate. And most importantly, so when he decided to go against Rome, I mean, this is going against the most powerful Senate in the world. And he takes it, which was a complete taboo and it was sacrilegious to even do this, to take an army to go into Rome. And not only did he get his troops to do that, but there were times where they were mad they weren't getting their money. And so he dismissed them and told them they'd all get paid. And like at the end of the speech, he gives a little slight, calling them citizens. You're free to go now, citizens. And, they felt all so horrible about like how, because, soldiers gripe but they got called out on their griping and, told, hey, okay, go on and go, guys. I'm sorry, you'll get paid and you can go on and go. And they felt so bad about that they had to do they did a conscription amongst themselves. And that's, you take out every 10th man out of the order and beat them to death. And it's like they did that and to continue to fight for free for Caesar instead of leaving, going home to safety and getting paid and not living and fighting under Caesar. They would rather fight under Caesar than do that. And when they got called out on their griping. And to have that kind of power over men, to have that kind of love from men is just, it's unmatchable in modern context or much throughout history. Even Alexander the Great, who they say Caesar, wept because at 30 he didn't achieve what Alexander did. Well, Alexander was birthed an army and in the kingship. Caesar had to fucking take it through straight will. And but even Alexander couldn't get his troops to follow him into India. Caesar got his without pay out of pure fervor and dedication to him to go into what was more sacrilegious and scary than the Greeks going into India, was going into Rome and going against everything they had been raised upon to respect the Senate and the Republic and to do that. So he has a quote that says, I love honor more than I fear death. And Caesar lived that to the T. And I think even his death, everything about him was poetic. Even his death just taught us such a lesson on what a good man he was to show mercy, but what a weakness it was and how it was used against them, and how with swine you can't forgive them. You only slaughter them. You can't. They don't appreciate it. They don't appreciate the mercy you give them. And we learned that through his life. So yeah, I think he's unmatched in history as far as the life of a man from birth to death. And I would like to see anyone lined up against him and why. Frederick the Great, no fucking way. No fucking way. No fucking way. He even goes, he's not even the greatest German. You step, behind Uncle Adolf for that. Because in my opinion, I guess that could be arguable. Maybe I'm out of line for saying that. I don't know. I think a few people would say I am, but I don't know when we look at how things were done. But I think Caesar is second to none. You are a fan of cannabis. What are your thoughts on psychedelics? These days, microdosing, legal LSD, pro-drug analogs for focus and creativity is my primary use of psychedelics. Smart Drugs. Smarts has a really good episode on microdosing. Sends me a link. I haven't watched this yet. I'm going to watch it. Yes, no, I'm a fan of it. Aldous Huxley, I think, wrote great things on his experiences on LSD. And personally, I haven't taken any hallucinogen in probably about 4 or 5 years. My last trip was on mushrooms, and it was a great trip. I had a great breakthrough. It was my first great trip. Before that, in my youth, I'd taken acid 3 or 4 times, mushrooms once, and they were all bad trips. They all ended up bad trips, but I wasn't in the right spot. So I always had a negative feeling towards them, and I didn't touch them for a while. But when I did it, the mushrooms about 5 years ago, I was in a good headspace, and I had a real good trip. Very productive, very good. Had highs and lows and everything, but very introspective. And like I said, I came to a great epiphany out of nowhere. And so it was very beneficial. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for microdosing or going completely balls to the wall. I still want to do DMT. I still want to do ayahuasca. And it sucks. I had a connection with this hippie chick out here who was way into ayahuasca and way into that stuff. And she was battling cancer completely, naturally. So she was very in tune with her body and what she was putting into her body, and very into the holistic medicines. So much so that she would fly out a shaman, I think from Peru. I might be misspeaking on that, but wherever ayahuasca is big, I think it's Peru. And she would fly him out to her house, and she would have little retreats there. And she kept asking me to go, and I knew I was in the wrong headspace at the time. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it now. I don't think. I think I'm going to feel, go too much into the negative or let the negative take me over. Like I said, I always had that hesitations. I had some real bad trips as a kid, and I was too young and too much in a bad place when I did it, to where I didn't know. I was just doing it to get high. It's like I wasn't doing it to get in touch with myself or anything. So, but like I said, the last time I did mushrooms, I did it with a different perspective, and I had a very beneficial trip from it. And eventually I'll do DMT once and ayahuasca once as well, just to go on those trips. But no, I'm all for it. I think you can enhance yourself. I think you can enhance yourself with it, and it's I'm all about it for sure. And it's something I need to get. I need to have more experiences in, because I do think you come to a deep understandings of yourself through these trips, whether it's completely manifested in your head or not. Because I know people like really believe they get in touch with something outside of themselves. I'm saying whether that happens or not, I think it's very beneficial because of the self-exploration that takes place in these things. Okay, so as long as you enhance yourself, become stronger, you help the community around you rather than for self-serving, cancerous, capitalist greed, I don't think you are selling your soul. I truly believe the principle is independent on its medium, natural or otherwise, and that a cyborg could have the soul that many humans I think of. Oh, hold on. Did I skip? Okay. CRISPR gene editing. I am of the opinion that these. Okay, he's talking about modern eugenics, technology laced eugenics. I'm in the opinion they can be safely used for long term gains if one truly knows what they are doing. However, this is when synthetic enhancement isn't being used as a substitute for hard work. Many still believe there is something lost in acquiring unnatural gains. I do believe that. I can see why someone would think that, and not that I think it can't happen. I don't think it necessarily has to. I also think you can sell your soul while being 100% naturally human. So here's why I'll disagree with that, because we already see it happening today. People get information so much easier. You can Google shit. Now everyone's a fucking know-it-all because they hit Google and they find their self-confirmation bias. And imagine that with fucking taking pills and getting muscles and all that shit. Like, it takes dedication and discipline to go to the gym, to work out, to eat right, that builds character. Fuck, you remove that, man. Oh, we're going to become such a shitty fucking species. Oh, if you don't have to work for gains, if you don't have to sacrifice and have discipline for gains, oh, no, I see an ugly, ugly fucking American if we do that. An ugly man. I think I think there's a big blowback to this kind of mentality of just take a pill, gain muscles, take a pill, get better, or whatever wherever technology is going. It's I don't know. There's a big setback to that, man. We can end up being a very ignorant and arrogant race of people. So yeah, the verdict's still out on that, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm all with the psychedelics. Like I said, it's been years since I've taken one, and I think you take too much, you fuck yourself too. I think there's a fine line, a real fine line with that stuff. So it should only be used time to time, like very very seldomly, and to find in the right environment and for the right reasons. All right, let's see. What is your view on federalism in the United States and in general? Should the individual states be given less or more power? Obviously, national unity is vital, but certain issues are best dealt with at the local level, in my opinion. Personally, I see the rationale for some form of federalism in the large size of the country, but also recognize the problems that could arise from states going to the federal line. What is the solution to the problem of fascist America? Presidentially appointed governors, a unitary state, something else. No, I agree. I think there should be more states' rights. I think this will help in the sense where states will be more free to attract the kind of people that want to live in these kind of states. So if a state wants to be more liberal, then they can be so and have more liberal people there. If a state wants to be more conservative, they can be so and have more conservatives live there. And all underneath the federal blanket on the end, the shared destiny, the common good, the common goal, underneath the federal blanket as far as that, but having more of an individualistic, a smaller culture personality within the states. And I think people will self-segregate themselves and work better together like that. As a unified nation, even though the states have more definition to them now, as far as how people or express themselves in that state, because they have more states' rights. So yeah, I think states' rights should be encouraged more, and the state should more reflect the base of the people living there and their will as far as culture goes, as far as the little ins and outs of each city and society, how they want to conduct themselves within the larger oversight of the unified destiny of America. So yeah, I'm a proponent of states' rights, but not to the point of succeeding or shit like that. That's treasonous, in my opinion. If we're talking about the kind of society we're talking about here, with a decent fascist government in charge. Okay, I'm taking a bit of a break from Discord and social media in general. Okay, good. So I'm happy you were able to do an AMA before I left. Anyways, I have some questions. First, what do you think about cold showers? Second, could you do a book review on Ego and Its Own by Max Stirner? No, I have not read The Ego and Its Own by Max Stirner, but I will. And after I do, I will do a video on it. But I wouldn't hold my breath waiting on it. And what do I think about cold showers? I fucking hate, love cold showers. The minute before I take the cold shower, I fucking hate it. The first 30 seconds of the cold shower, I fucking hate it as I'm trying to breathe. And it's hitting me. But then after that, it's so euphoric. It feels so good and so much power. It's been a little bit since I've taken a cold shower. I went through periods of time where that's all I took was cold showers and take breaks off of it. And then I'd do it again. That's all I'd take is cold showers. And then now I hadn't even thought about it until you asked the question. So I think I'm going to get back into another cold shower phase. I think the best benefit, there's health benefits from it. I have Tim Ferriss's book here, The 4-Hour Body, was when I first read about cold showers and the benefits of it. And I started doing it. Everything from body fat to raising brown fat, the good fat. And then to me, though, the best, and you can just look it up, the health benefits of cold showers. To me, the best benefit though was building willpower, because willpower is like a muscle. The more you build it, the stronger it gets. And I like to say, the more you say no, the more it grows. But with cold showers, the more you say yes, the more it grows, because it strengthens your willpower by simply you doing something you don't want to fucking do, and you forcing yourself to do it daily. And that builds your willpower in other aspects too that have nothing to do with cold showers. Because you master that all the time, it strengthens it. Cold showers did this for me. It helped me in other areas. Because like I said, the minute before I'm about to take a cold shower, I'm all excuses in my head. No, you're fine. You had a good workout. Just fucking get some hot water, relax. Oh no, you don't need to do it today. You'll do it tomorrow. All this shit's going through your head. And then you're like, fuck you. Cold water, here it comes. Dive in it. And so doing that over and over again, I was able to, turn down, whatever, dessert or sugar, or et cetera, or not crave this and that. Use that willpower that I was able to force myself to take the cold showers, which, like I said, after the first 30 seconds are euphoric. I mean, it's a great feeling after you're done, or even after you've had the initial burst. But just how much it sucks, that initial burst, you're always like, every morning I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And I'd force myself to do it, and it helped build my willpower. So that was the biggest benefit of cold showers to me. So yeah, I love cold showers, and it's I think everyone should go through periods of doing that, or do it all the time, I guess, if you want. But for me, yeah, I found them completely beneficial, and I think I'm going to have to jump into another cold shower cycle, because it's been a while and I had forgotten and not even thought about it to the question. So we're about getting close to 40 minutes, and I think I got to all the questions I had here. Yes, I did. So yeah, that is it for now. Until next time. Cheers.